Hi, I'm Christina.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Wayz Podcast. Today, our guest is an intuitive energy and sound healer, Maya Andreeva. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you here. So jumping right into it, this episode right now is going to be kind of about your journey and what brought you into the healing world. So can you share us a little bit about what sparked your interest in it?
So I started being interested in metaphysics probably when I was about 20, 21, and I read a book, and it really opened up my idea about what actually life is. And then maybe 2016, I took a course for Reiki, learned how to do Reiki, and I wanted to do it for myself. However, never intended to offer it as a service to anyone. My mom, maybe. But that was it. I kind of forgot about it. And then in 2018 is when I really went into a kind of dark space. Got really depressed, felt really unlikable, unlovable. It was a really hard time for me then. And I found, or what I like to say is, Kundalini yoga found me because I was at the right place at the right time. And I started doing Kundalini yoga, and I signed up for teacher training, which is a 9 months intensive. And I was doing yoga every day, sometimes twice a day before sunset and before bed. And this is when things started shifting for me. And that's when actually my healing journey began, because a lot of my perspectives started shifting, and a lot of how I felt and saw the world around me changed. And I started taking a little bit more responsibility of the fact that I'm creating everything around me. And that's when things started getting better. And then pandemic happened. That is when I actually found plant medicine.
Okay.
And with plant medicine is where this whole journey of healing myself and healing others began.
Wow. I have so many questions in regards to that. So one kind of being, do you mind sharing what brought you down a dark path?
I don't know. It was just, okay, I guess I do know if I think harder. So I'm an immigrant. Mm-hmm. I'm originally from Bulgaria, and I came in on a student visa. And that's not really an easy way to stay in the United States. So I had to find a way to be here legally. So I was a student. However, I was working illegally, and I was working in the service industry. I was a waitress for 10 years. And seeing on social media how my peers back home are, getting good jobs and creating families and being promoted and becoming entrepreneurs. And I felt really restricted. Mm-hmm. I just blamed everything and everyone else for holding me back, because I just didn't see a way to get there, because I felt I just can't do it. And so I started being really depressed on the fact that I guess like my whole life I'm just going to be serving people.
But why did you come here then in the first place? What brought you to LA, or not necessarily LA, but America?
So I came on in 2008. I came first to visit on a work and travel visa, which is if you're a full-time student, you get this work and travel visa for the United States. So you're allowed to work for 3 months, and then you have 1 month to travel around and then go back home. Mm-hmm. So I came in 2008, and I almost stayed. However, my parents really convinced me to get back and finish my education. So I listened and I went back, but I could not rest. I had to find a way to get back here. I just really loved it. I was living in Santa Monica, and I was working in a hotel right at the beach, and My job was not easy, but I had so much fun out of work. I met some really cool people, and I don't know, I just felt that this is the place that I have to be.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting way and hard way to get back here. And this was actually my first work with energy and manifestation. This is when I watched The Secret. And believe me or not, every night before I go to bed, I will write a little note how my life is amazing in LA and I live at the beach and I go to the beach every day and all the fun things that I wanted to do in LA. And I actually drew this, I can't draw, but I drew this picture with a marker where I'm like having fun at a pool party at the beach. I still have that picture with me. And I just started working towards that goal to come back here. And I was denied visa. So that was really depressing. But I didn't give up. I finished my bachelor's degree and then I was accepted into a master's degree. And so I had to be a full-time student to be able to obtain another same visa, work and travel visa, because I was denied a student visa because at the embassy, they told me that I can learn English in UK or somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, if anything, it seems like you were called to be here. So you decided to listen to your intuition and stayed. Because I'm like, throughout all of this, you were talking about everybody back home, them succeeding on social media, it seemed like, at least. And you could have just got up and went right back there, but you didn't.
I didn't. I really felt that this is my home. I've always wanted to live by the beach. And I moved from my hometown in Bulgaria to go to college to a seaside city. So when I came here and I was working at the beach, I don't know, I just felt really connected to LA, and I had to do anything I can in my powers to come back.
See, this is why I love people's stories so much, is because, like, despite all odds, even though things aren't working out all the time, I feel like they are always working out in some way, shape, or form. It might not feel like it, but you kind of had to go through this, if anything, kind of struggle to be where you're at right now on your healing journey and healing other people. Like, it might not seem like a blessing in the moment, but it kind of is. So I think that story was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. Yeah. And I was denied a visa, so I didn't give up. And later on, I realized that if I had gotten that visa and came at that time, it was not going to be good for me.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing, even though it was really hard to accept.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to know, especially the journey that you had versus where you are now. What was that in between like for you and sort of creating the version you are of yourself right now?
I feel like I had to let go of a lot of ego ideas about myself. And I still have a lot to go. Like, the road is never ending. But yeah, realizing that I am responsible for how I feel and what I think and how my life is going to be, and doing everything that I can to get it to where I want it to be. I think that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is not giving up and listening to my intuition, listening to what my inner voice is guiding me and what feels good and what doesn't, what feels scary. We have such an innate ability to judge situation and people just by the way we feel about them. And we tend to ignore that all the time for one reason or another. And so when I start listening, it's just so much easier.
And what does like that listening sort of feel like to you? Because I think that a lot of people say, this is what, my intuition is saying, or this is what my gut is saying, but everyone kind of can, have that feeling in very different areas of their body, or maybe have different experiences. So I would like to know what is that sort of experience like for you?
So there's a few different ways that my intuition is working, and lately it's adding even more layers. But a simple example is what happens to me all the time. And that's a really big reminder to listen, and that I'm out of tune, is when I'm driving the same route every day, for example, or I'm going somewhere I've been before and I know what exactly streets I'm going to take, what exactly turns I'm going to make. And then suddenly I get the idea, oh, maybe I should just go straight here instead of turning left. And I'm like, no, I always go left. And so I go left. I don't listen to that idea that I had to go straight. And then there's like a street is closed, or there's an accident, or there's, I don't know, something is happening that's out of ordinary that is like going to make me late, or I'm just going to be frustrated. And that happens all the time. But in my body, when it's like something more major, I would say it feels like in my stomach, like when it's something really nice and exciting, like I feel this opening. And then when it's something that I'm like, I'm not sure, it's like a contraction, like I can feel it in my chest, and like my shoulders are shrugging a little bit, and I'm becoming really uncertain. So I would say if I'm becoming uncertain, that means that it's more of a no. If I'm getting excited about it, definitely a yes.
Yeah. I love that.
Is there anything that's kind of helped you tone in more to those signals and those feelings? Because I feel like all of them, we do have them, but us ignoring them kind of pushes them down. Is there something like a tool or modality that you've used to harness the power of listening to yourself more?
Definitely meditating, like sitting in quiet and trying to listen to your thoughts and then allowing them to be. And then at some point, asking them to quiet down. And then the things that are most important will come up. And if they're fear-based, then that's really more likely your mind than your intuition. Breath work is really powerful to get into that deeper state of trusting yourself, because with breath work, especially some of the breathwork modalities, they ask you to really trust yourself, because you're holding breath, for example, for a really long time, and your body thinks like it's dying. I'm not breathing. And so starting to trust yourself and your body starting to trust you, that you are in control, I think is also really helpful. But realizing, I think for me, when I started realizing that, oh, I had that idea and I didn't do it, and then this happened, and then I recognize it and I acknowledge it, and I was like, I hope next time I listen, right? I'm encouraging myself to get accustomed to those ideas and asking myself, next time, listen. Next time when you get that idea, do it. And so the more, it's kind of like the more you train yourself, the better you get at it. And the more you catch yourself that you didn't do it, easier it becomes to catch yourself.
When did you first recognize the gift of sound and energy healing for yourself?
Gosh, I don't remember, but I went to a sound bath, and I think it was like January 1st at some 20 something. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. The way just laying down and allowing yourself to get lost in the sound, because the sound really carries you in different dimensions if you allow yourself to travel. And the way I felt after that was just so incredible. So I think that is when I first encountered sound healing, and I was really fascinated, but I was still so far from realizing that this is something I will be doing one day. I just started going and enjoying it. Energy healing is when I did my Reiki training. I took a session with my teacher, and I was like, whoa, this is the next level. I was literally like traveling time and space, and I still, again, didn't take it in order to heal other people. I just wanted it for myself. I wanted to work on myself. I had health issue, like my stomach with the food here. I mean, I don't want to blame it on the food here,
No,
but
it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just started bloating and it was really uncomfortable. So I wanted to learn Reiki to heal myself and to work on myself. So that was my encounter with the modalities before I recognized I wanted to do that. And then when the pandemic started, everything shut down and I already had sound bowls and never played for anybody but myself and my husband at home. And so again, as the universe really has your back, I was supposed to go with friends to a gathering where it's going to be sound healing, music, dancing, but it was during COVID. And so the day of, we received an email that one of the facilitators tested positive. So they canceled it. And my friends and I were already going somewhere. We had blocked that time. So I was like, do you guys want to go to the beach? And I'll bring my sound bowls and I'll do a sound healing for us. And everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. So we went to the beach. Myself and another girl had sound bowls. And that was my first sound bath that I facilitated for someone else. And from that day on, that other woman and I started doing bi-weekly sound baths for friends and putting it on Eventbrite, and whoever comes, maybe 1-2 people out of our circle will show up. And then suddenly she's like, you know what? I don't think I can do that anymore. But you have everything that you need to continue doing that. And I was like, what? You're leaving me? I can't do that on my own. I was like, what? I was shocked because I really did not believe in myself. I did not believe that I can do something on my own. But I just gathered myself and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I love this. Like just the way it made me feel doing it for others, but also the way I felt. Like I'm also absorbing the frequencies and I realized I'm tuning into a different mind of mine. I would calm down and I would just like go in this deep meditation while doing the sound bowls that I was like, I feel better doing it than receiving it, because receiving it, I'm relying on something else and someone else to help me. But when I was doing it, I was giving all that I have, and I am giving all that I have, but also I'm going into this deep state of meditation where it just times stops. And that's when I was like, I guess this is it. This is it. I felt at home. I was at the beach in elements on the sand. It was the dream that I never knew I had. And if it wasn't for that canceled event, I don't know if I would have had the guts to get my stuff and go to the beach and be like, hey, you guys want to come? I don't know if I would have had the courage to do that. But the universe just gave me a little push. And I just took it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seemed like you had the courage to be like, you know what, I'll just go ahead and do it. That must have been something that was very hard for you, but so brave to do. And I have a question for you too in regards to your energy healing. So you practice a very specific type of energy healing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Juta, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Healing. Could you kind of tell us how you discovered that and that journey of bringing that to the world and to light and helping heal people through that modality?
Yes. This is really the gift. I'm so grateful and I feel so blessed to have been able to experience what I did in order to be where I am. But it started with a plant medicine ceremony. I was in Costa Rica and I was in ceremony and I realized that my arms are moving. And I was like, what are they doing? Because I guess I had went out for a moment. And actually, at first I felt like someone's touching me. And I was like, who's touching me? And then I realized I was touching myself under the blanket. My arms are just going, doing these motions and tapping on my body. And that went for like 2 hours. And I was exhausted at the end. But while this was happening, I was so fascinating. I started asking Spirit, Mother Ayahuasca.
The medicine, yeah.
The medicine. I was like, what is going on? And she was telling me I was healing myself. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. This is really interesting. Can I learn this and take it to people and do it for other people and help them heal?
You asked ayahuasca that question?
I did.
Oh, I love that.
And she said, you already know it, my child. And I was like, come again? What? But I was like, that was way too unbelievable for me. I'm like, what do you mean I know it? Because, I'm under the influence of the whole experience. And I was like, but is there a book I can read, or is there a teacher I should find to teach me? Because I really want to learn that and bring it to the people. And she's like, oh, child, you already know. You're just now remembering.
Wow.
Okay. All right. That sounds amazing. And I was like, what is it? And she told me it's an ancient healing technique. And I was like, okay, cool. And what is it called? Is there a name for it? And when you know someone's name, but you can't really remember it, and it's like, is it Mary? Is it Maria? What is it? Like, it's something and it's like on the tip of your tongue, and I'm like trying to say it, and suddenly I just see it written, and I was like, Juta? And then I was like, oh, it felt so true. I was like, that's the name. Even if it isn't, that is the name. I'm calling it that way. And that's how it was born. And to be honest, I came back and I forgot about it. Like, kind of put it on the side because I was like, this sounds like a little unbelievable. I already know it. Like, what do you mean? I don't know what to do. And so, as the universe has it, always put you in the right place at the right time. I went to see a friend of mine, and she was going through a hard time. So, asked me to do Reiki for her. And I was like, girl, okay. I mean, you don't really forget how to do that, but I haven't done it in a long time. She's like, it's okay. Anything will help. And I was like, okay, sure. So, she lays down on her bed, and I started doing Reiki on her as I remember. And then suddenly this portal opens up and this energy shoots straight up into me, and my arms are starting to do these things, and like my jaw is locking in and my neck is like pulling up, and I'm doing these things on her, and I was like, oh my God, what is happening? And suddenly I remember, and I was like, oh my God, I do know how to do that. This is it. This is Juta. Holy cannoli. And this session was just out of this world, because it was my first encounter with it, without being completely sober, completely, grounded. And suddenly this thing happens, and I'm like, whoa, this is absolutely amazing. And then I just started practicing at home on myself for hours. And the interesting thing was I would start doing it on myself, and it will go for an hour. And I would record it, and then I will look, and I was like, oh my God, that was an hour? Because it felt like it was 10 minutes. And this is when I was like, oh my God, time and space, this is like not real. It felt like 10 minutes and it's been an hour. And so when I do energy healing, oftentimes I have to wear a watch, like some kind of alarm to bring me back, because I fly out somewhere and time and space doesn't exist, and it's been like so long. And if I have to, like, I have regular classes where I do that, and it's 45 minutes. So if I get lost, it's no bueno. So,
there's people kicking you out. They're like, time to go, unfortunately. Love it, but yeah.
So that's how Juta came into my life.
That's absolutely beautiful. And then what kind of, what gave you the courage to go full time? Because I know in the beginning you were saying, I was just doing Reiki to heal myself. And then all these different opportunities came and you started doing it. When was finally your turning point where you're like, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to step into my light and start doing it?
I think after I practiced long enough with the Juta Healing, I was already doing sound healing at the beach. It was still pandemic. It was still 2020. So I just wanted to go out because everything was closed. And I was like, I'm just going to go to the beach. And if anyone comes, comes. If not, I'm just going to play it for myself. And then it was December 2020 when I was in Costa Rica. So maybe at least 6 months it took me to work on myself before I got the courage to even tell anyone that I was doing this, that I had this experience. I mean, I told my husband, but besides that, nobody else. And so it took me a long time to really step into and be like, let me try. And so I started telling my neighbors. I had this beautiful people that were my neighbors. They moved away. But I was like, yeah, I do energy healing. You want to try? I'm like, but if you don't want, it's okay, you know, but it's really
You're just
good.
Testing the waters first. Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, I've always, and then they were really good meditators. They wanted to go do plant medicine. So we really clicked, and I was like, hey, you guys, you want to do that? Let's do it. And so they were my first clients. And that's when it ignited me, because one of their sessions was really powerful and mind-blowing, and it was the confirmation that I needed for myself to be like, whoa, this really works.
Wow.
And so I had to, like, after witnessing what happened, I had to. And it was a very slow process, and I'm still in the closet with a lot of people. A lot of my friends, they think I teach yoga.
Really?
Or do sound baths. But a lot of my friends don't know I do energy healing, and that I get messages from spirit, and that, you know, I don't. Yeah. I'm still kind of in the closet with some people because I love them, but they're, you know, I'm going to have to explain to them so much. And I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know. I think when the time is right, we will have that conversation, but not yet.
I was going to say, I don't think it's your responsibility to necessarily explain to anybody. If somebody's interested, I'd say just be authentically yourself, loud and proud. But like, you don't have to go out of your way to make it known to people who aren't seeking it or aren't curious, you know, like the people who do need you will come and find you. You're pretty open about it from my perspective. And if they don't want to take the time to get to know you on a deeper level, then like, it's just not their path right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And everybody has their timing.
Yeah.
Everybody. That book I told you in the beginning, I grabbed it when I was 18. And I was like, I don't know about that. Read a couple pages. I'm like, nah. And then when I read it at 21, it changed my life, right? It's just I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
So we grasp and understand information when we're ready for it. We may have heard it before, and it could be a month. But in that month, so much can happen to change your perspective that the next time you hear it, you're like, oh my God, how come I've never heard that before? Not realizing that you have. You just didn't hear it that way, and you didn't understand it.
I could not agree more with that. Then to kind of close out, is there any advice you would give to people who want to go on a spiritual journey or listen more to themselves but don't know how?
I would say really meditating is really big thing. It's so powerful because before I had my experience with ayahuasca and Juta Healing, I was meditating twice a day, every day. And I was doing this meditation where you hold your hands and you bless the world. And it was a guided meditation. And we were blessing the world because it was, you know, a shit show. It was a show going. It was
Some
crazy.
might say it still is, but I digress.
Right. So that was the intent, to bless the world. And we would do it twice a day. And after a certain time of doing it over and over and over again, the teacher will say, you might feel, your hands being warm or tingly. You may feel the top of your head where your crown chakra is like becoming tingly or itchy or stretchy. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then after doing it consistently for I don't know how long, I was like, oh my God, I feel it. I feel it. And then I started feeling it more and more and more. And I would go outside in some days and I can feel my crown stretching. And I was like, what is this feeling? So meditation really consistently, there are so many like guided meditations. And I know people are like, I'm not a good meditator. I can't meditate because I can't stop thinking. Mm-hmm. That's not the goal, especially when you're starting. Allow yourself to just be. Use, if you have to, guided meditations. I just came back from a seminar with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I mean, he's brilliant. And his meditations are so powerful. And they're guided. There's silence in between his words, but it's guided meditation and it's so powerful. So there's so many resources out there, but meditation, find something that works for you, that gives you that spark that like, oh, I can do that. Because starting off with quiet meditation is, people are like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. My mind is not turning off. I think that will be my advice, is start consistently meditating, even if it is 5 minutes. But there's so many resources out there on YouTube, on anywhere you go, you can find something that resonates with you. If it makes you feel good and relaxed, then do it again. And then maybe find something else that makes you feel good and confident that you're progressing. Consistency in anything, consistency.
Yeah, thank you so much for that little bit of wisdom right there. I appreciate it and cannot agree more. Meditation's been so impactful in my life as well. And I just really want to thank you for being here and sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for all of our listeners and viewers, we will be linking all of her resources below. Both of the episodes we're releasing for her, so please stay tuned. And yeah, thank you so much for this conversation, guys.
Thank you.
And until next time, I love you.
Thank you so much, and keep shining your light.